All right, guys. I'm just gonna get going because I think we're probably gonna wind up going kind of wide and shallow today. We've had a lot of requests this week from kind of newcomers to the process who just want an overview of the different tools and strategies that you should be rotating into your marketing stack for deal origination. So we'll cover that. Apologies right now if you guys can hear my kid making noise in the background. He's going down for nap time. Working from home. This is the reality we're in. It shouldn't last too long, but if it's getting too much, just ping me and let me know. And no, I'm not gonna be able to do anything. So hopefully it won't ruin the lunch and learn. So let's just get going. As always, we run through about 15 minutes of something valuable, something that hopefully will be a takeaway for you to help with your deal origination. To help with your social selling and digital sales. And then we can go into Q&A. Q&A typically that winds up coming after this lunch and learn. For whatever reason, people don't seem to want to engage with Q&A on the spot, but we certainly get a lot of follow-ups, and I'm just fine with that. I think it fits with the format really well in terms of just having a quick half hour to insert value and then get on about our respective days. So today I'll do the standard intro and updates and keep that very short. And then I had some follow-up questions on last week. We covered how to leverage utilizing business brokers for deal origination. So if you're a buyer, if you're private equity, if you're strategic and you're kind of new to this whole process, or you're one of the many searchers out there just starting out this process to buy one business, go back, look at that video. We run through what is really a critical aspect of any deal flow funnel. And that's the intermediary, finding a good roster of business brokers, intermediaries who can help supplement your deal flow and vet deals as they're searching for proprietary deal flow on their own. Really great source of deal flow, and you should not be missing out on that. So we are going to cover briefly today how to use those tools on BizNexus as a buyer and as a broker, but there were a lot of questions about how do I white label this tool as a business broker for my buy side clients, or if I'm searcher, how do I set up projects and receive the emails on specific searches? So we're going to touch on that briefly, and then I'm going to go through kind of a lead generation rapid fire. Right, we're going to go through about 10 things, 10 tools that we see people using a lot, some successfully, some not so much. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of what these popular tools are as related to deal origination. The world that we're all in, business acquisition and sale. We're not going after a click or a conversion. We're going after a transaction, someone to sell what they have been building for the past 10, 30 years. So it's very, very different game when it comes to, contacting at the top of the funnel, nurturing through a very lengthy, sophisticated funnel down to transaction where you ultimately either buy a company or get a transaction under contract if you're a broker to sell. I run BN.Digital. That is our agency for off-market proprietary deal origination. That's primarily what we talk about in these lunch and learns. And I also run BizNexus, which is our tech platform. It's a matching platform for on-market deal flow, for auction-based deal flow, business broker rep deal flow primarily, and pre-sim deal flow as well. Everything we're talking about is highly relevant in today's environment of reduced opportunity for one-on-one social interaction, right? Everything that we are talking about was relevant pre-COVID. It's just accelerated since we've all entered into this new world. So everybody's trying to figure out how to automate the top of the funnel, how to closely keep track of all of these conversations and all of these interactions that you might have with prospects as you're continuing to qualify them and move them further down the funnel, so that when you have a conversation later in the relationship, ideally, when you have that in-person quote unquote break bread meeting, which you'll always need in this industry, ideally you're both armed with more information and the conversation is much more productive, much more valuable, and you wind up eliminating a lot of wasted time if you can do this the right way. So we've seen continued growth in interest in this. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's only accelerating. I think a lot of this is not going back to where the world was pre-COVID. So if you can get ahead of this, if you can really can master the process of automating the top of your funnel and leveraging all the data and targeting that is available out there with digital sales, that's something that is going to be valuable regardless of what happens with a vaccine or with anything moving forward. Things like diligence, for example, that's not coming back. If people have figured out how to do some of these processes that pre-COVID in M&A, it was just, you had to do it in person. It was just the way things were in a traditional industry. Now people are open up to a lot of new processes, right? Whether it's doing diligence through Zoom, doing that online, really meeting a seller for the first time online, completely eliminating in-person meetings for introductory meetings, just doing everything online. This is very, very efficient, and I think it's here to stay. So the point of everything that we're talking about on any of these lunch and learns, as we're going after, if you're in this for the long haul, so if you're a buyout firm and you're looking to buy multiple companies, if you're a business broker and you're looking to ultimately represent multiple transactions, even if you're a one-off buyer, if you're a fundless sponsor or a search funder, and you just want to buy one business, if you're searching for a period of 2 or 3 years, you don't just want to hit your primary prospects, i.e. business owners, because the way this industry is, you have to assume 90% plus of the people who you target, even if you're spot on with your targeting, they're not going to be ready for what you're selling. They're not going to be ready to have a conversation about selling their business at that exact moment that you reach out to them. It doesn't mean that they won't be ready 6 months from now, a year from now, but at the exact moment, they aren't going to be ready, right? So assuming that's the case, you need to make sure that you're nurturing the 90% that aren't ready for your message, and you're also developing a referral network of the referral prospects who can deliver your primary prospects, your business owner targets over time, financial advisors, accountants, lawyers, et cetera. So you want to spin up this flywheel and make sure that you're doing the deal generation, right? The top of the funnel lead generation on an ongoing basis, but then you also complement that with all of these stages: targeting, building, nurturing, capturing. All of these pistons have to be firing at the same time, where you're optimizing who your primary prospects, you're optimizing, your own profile to meet the need of the end target prospect, right? Is your online brand a clear solution for the business owner who you're going after? You optimize your targeting for the end prospect, for the business owner, and for each referral prospect. And then you build campaigns specific to each target type and continue to nurture them down the funnel, continue to nurture that 90% that is not ready at first contact for your offering, for a discussion about what their exit plan might look like, what their business valuation could be, nurturing them, familiarizing them with your brand, with social proof, getting them comfortable with who you are, how you do what you do, how your services meet their specific pain points until the point of capture, getting them offline into an online relationship, into an online engagement, the proverbial cup of coffee, right? Whether that's a phone call in this environment or an actual face-to-face meeting, if you're lucky enough to be having those these days. Last thing on the intro, deal flow funnel. This is going to be relevant today. At the top of the funnel, just think of that as the beginning of a conversation, right? So you're in a conference and you meet somebody and you see that you have initial overlap, so exchange business cards. You know who they are, what they do, you want to learn more, you're curious, but there still needs to be some vetting that takes place. That's the top of the funnel. Moving down towards the middle of the funnel, you've got the education, nurturing, letting your prospects know who you are, what you do, that you have some social proof, that you're a qualified authority in your specific niche. Very important to help familiarize your prospects, get them comfortable with your brand, with the fact that you are a qualified authority and that you're good at what you do, so you can get down to the point of commitment, of making the ask, right? Whether that ask is something soft, like a confidential conversation, right? About what your exit plan could look like, what your exit options might be. If you want to formalize it and give a free business valuation, we see that a lot as well. tools that work at each stage of the funnel. I'm not going to go through these, but you can go back, you can visit this slide. We talk about this on a weekly basis. So that's that. That's my intro. No big updates with BizNexus and BN.Digital this week. We're continuing to roll out product releases, so stay tuned. You can access us at BizNexus.com or BN.Digital. I think you're all familiar with that at this point. So today we're going to be hanging out in the targeting space, right? So to hop right into it, we had a lot of follow-up interest, questions about this tool. So let me get in here. Here we go. So when you log into BizNexus, you've got buy-side tools, right? So whether you're a buyer, whether you're a broker, you're going to see this button, and this takes you right into what we're talking about, right? So in this buyer console, you can conduct as many searches as you want to from this console, right? You can choose the industry, sub-industry, location, the radius if you're conducting a geographical based search, use multiple keywords. If you're a premium user, you can search by multiples, revenue, cash flow, EBITDA, all of the above. So you can use all the search functionality that you'll see on the other sites and then some. But this is what you want to do if you have multiple searches, right? So if I have, I don't know, let's just say a medical billing search, right? And maybe this is a company that's hired me because I'm a business broker and it's strategic and they want me to go find some acquisitions for them. Or maybe I'm just looking to buy my own company. I want to buy a medical billing company. I'm going to create that project, all right? Now I'm going to conduct a search and I'm going to skip the industry. I'm just going to put in medical billing and kind of see what we come up with. And let's just search this, right? All right, so medical billing, kind of specific. We're going to save this search and I'm going to put in keyword medical billing. And I'm going to assign this to the medical billing company project. That's it, right? I'm going to save this. And now I'm only seeing a couple of these things coming up with keyword medical billing specifically in the title. But if I go back to the buy side tools, I'm going to see medical billing, keyword medical billing right there. And I'm subscribed to match alerts. So new matches, right? Whether it's on the platform or not, the second it becomes available, I'm going to get first crack at it. I subscribe to match alerts. If I want to edit that search, I can edit it here. If I want to delete it, I can do that here. Now, if I want to do another search and let's just say, medical, and I don't know, we'll go to Florida, right? There we go. Now I've got another search that looks good. I'm going to save this. And again, I always recommend putting in KW for your keywords, because as you accumulate a lot of searches, you're going to want to keep track of this. And if I had an industry chosen in there, I'd put industry. And if I had profit, I'd put profit, but come up with a system so you can keep track, right? I'm going to say location FL. And again, I'm going to assign this to medical billing company. So long story short, what this does to recap, again, but this is in direct response to your questions this week. We had a lot of interest here. So this is one search. So if I'm looking for one company to buy, maybe I've got a few different targets. I want to make sure that I set up projects for each of those targets and get really detailed on each search, on each corresponding search. If I'm a buy-side broker, if I'm a broker just dipping into the world of buy-side work, you can hop on BizNexus, you can white label your buy-side work, you can set this up so you're getting deal flow for your client. You're just getting this via email, you're logging in once a day, you're checking these searches, right? When you go to your homepage, you're going to see all of these saved searches on your homepage, right? You can scroll through these things, right? Keyword medical billing. You can just scroll right through. This is how you do it. You white label your entire buy side work here for auction-based deal flow, not for proprietary, but for auction-based deal flow. That's how you do it. If you're a private equity company and you have multiple portfolio companies, you set up a project for each portfolio company and you do multiple searches for each. And that's the process. So if we have any follow-up questions on that, just, I'm not going to, I mean, I can go through it in the Q&A if needed, but you know, this is the second time that we've touched on this. It's a very, very powerful tool. Great way to leverage BizNexus if you engage with it. So I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions. Just email me after. Now let's go through the 30,000 foot overview of the lead generation tools, right? Top of the funnel, what works and what should you be thinking about if you're just getting going with this transition from analog to digital, right? So the four most powerful arrows, in my opinion, in the world of business acquisition and sale, if you're talking about deal origination, what we talk about, what our agency focuses on, what our bread and butter is, LinkedIn, direct email, direct mail, phone. If you can do these four in a coordinated fashion, it's very, very powerful. LinkedIn, just a reminder why this platform is so valuable, even though it's clearly become more noisy since the advent of the pandemic. 700 million users, 2 users per second. LinkedIn makes up more than 50% of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs. I'm going to repeat that one. LinkedIn alone makes up over 50% of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs. So for all of you business brokers out there burning your time on Twitter and Facebook, just absorb that, because we see that a lot, especially if you're burning money on those platforms. Be very, very careful. Nice demographic when it comes to buyers and sellers. Most people are making over 50, over 75 grand. And you have very high engagement. 75% of users are logging in daily. And questionable stat, I think this is actually from LinkedIn, but 50% of users are likely to purchase with a company they engage with on LinkedIn. That's not surprising, but you need to, especially in business acquisition and sale, you need to be touching these prospects across multiple channels. LinkedIn is a great reinforcement tool. It can be a great initial contact tool, but especially with all of the spammers and the LinkedIn ninjas, operating these new agencies that are just LinkedIn spam. That's, people are becoming a little more deaf on the platform. So you need to make sure that you have an integrated strategy. It's the only B2B platform like this out there. It's the only platform in that game. And so it's absolutely critical that you're on it. It's very, very valuable, but you can't plan on just hitting a home run by leveraging this platform alone. You need to have integrated campaigns, multi-channel campaigns, right? So direct email, LinkedIn, direct mail, phone. I've talked about those on previous Lunch and Learn, so I'm not going to dig in. If you want to hear more about these, put it in the feedback. I give you a Q&A after each Lunch and Learn, so you can tell us what you want to hear more of, what you don't want to hear, what was valuable, what wasn't in this Lunch and Learn. So I'm going to move on to some of these other tools to address the questions that we got this week. So video marketing, I'd say 99% of the clients who come through, you've got business brokers who know they should be engaged with video marketing and they're not. We've had a lot of lower middle market buyout firms coming in recently that are actually looking to transfer significant budget, really thoughtfully thinking about their ad budget, their marketing budget, what portion of that is digital and what portion of that do they want to put into video marketing and how is that going to be done? We've seen a real uptick there. So video marketing, it's highly valuable. I mean, if you're just recording videos and putting them on YouTube, the SEO is going to be fantastic because YouTube's owned by Google, right? And over time, if you're putting these videos out there and they're related to business valuation in location, business exit planning in location, if you have that content in the video and if you have the right keywords, this is going to be a lead generation tool. It's not just video for the sake of video. Google's reading this, it's directing traffic, it's sending the right prospects your way. So it is very powerful. Most people don't do it because they don't have the time, they don't know where to start, but it's extremely powerful. It's also not just powerful from, take a video about a topic and post it and put it out on YouTube, but with retargeting, it can be extremely powerful. So for retargeting ads, I talk a lot about retargeting ads in these lunch and learns, in my opinion, in business acquisition and sale. Aside from, if you have the budget for LinkedIn targeted ads, you really only want to spend your money on retargeting ads, right? Reinforcing the message to people who have already clearly shown interest by visiting, your website business for sale page, right? By visiting a landing page that had clear intent, right? And so those are the ads that are going to be helpful. And video is a big part of that. If you're going to have a retargeting program, video is great on landing pages. If you have a testimonial, if you can make a video of yourself talking about who you are, what you do, if you get that client down to the bottom of the funnel and then they finally land on a landing page and they see a video from you, that can seal the deal and get the phone call, get the click, the conversion over to, schedule a calendar appointment to have a phone call about a business valuation, etc. And then again, video marketing on LinkedIn. If you can upload a video organically on LinkedIn, you're going to get great reach, right? You're going to get a lot more eyeballs than you will on other platforms. You're not just using a YouTube link. You're actually downloading the video and re-uploading it organically onto the LinkedIn platform. The algorithm will reward that and boost that video out to a larger percentage of your network. And if you're running a focused social selling program and your network happens to be business owners in your area, financial advisors, accountants, lawyers in your area, your referral network, your primary prospect network, great. That's the whole game we're playing, right? That's what we want to do. We want to take advantage of that organic B2B reach that's available on LinkedIn today and might not be available next year. If you can do that with video, very, very effective. Website. We see a lot of people burning a lot of time, a lot of money designing websites, spending money to put websites together. It's fine if you have that budget, but just be careful, because we see people wanting to do a lot more with a website than they really need to be doing, especially in business acquisition and sale. Keep the message simple, right? If you're doing sell side work, just cover sell side and make sure that you have one clear call to action, right? And the call to action can be a confidential conversation about what your exit plan might look like. It can be, an initial business valuation, but it should be very clear that if I'm a business owner and I'm thinking about selling my business, you've hit me on LinkedIn, you've hit me in a newsletter, you've hit me, via a warm and cold email drip. And now I finally get to your website and I want to see social proof. I want to see, okay, what is this problem that you solve? What's in it for me? Okay, you clearly sell businesses. You have testimonials from people who, hopefully you've sold their businesses and they're happy and they're giving you a testimonial. And then I have a clear call to action. I have a button to schedule a meeting. I have your contact info. How do I get it? How do I get what you're offering me? 9 times out of 10, when we look at websites, these things are all over the place. It's not clear. It's not a focused message. And it's not really pulling you into that one action, which is just reach out to me, have that conversation about a business valuation, right? Have that conversation about what your exit options could potentially be. And then we schedule follow-up calls and let's start to work through this, right? Keep it simple, KISS. My developers constantly use that phrase, keep it simple, stupid, right? That's what you want to do with a website. And as always on a website, just make sure you have retargeting pixels. If you're going to do one thing, get a Facebook retargeting pixel on there, maybe get a LinkedIn retargeting pixel. That will allow you to show ads, specific ads to anybody who visits your website, right? So whether they visit a certain page, you can just run these retargeting ads to anybody who visited your, sell your business with me page. You can run retargeting ads to anybody who visited buy a business with me page, right? So it's just nurturing, keeping that conversation going and bringing them down the funnel. SEO and blogging. I have yada, yada, yada in here because we see so many people burn money. It's important, but it shouldn't be the first thing that you're thinking about if you're just getting into B2B deal origination, right? Again, the 4 tools, direct email, direct mail, LinkedIn, calls. If your targeting is on, that's going to be much more effective. SEO and blogging, it's powerful, but in an industry where you don't have too much time, you want to try to outsource this at the top of the funnel wherever you can, right? So get somebody who knows the industry, who can write a few articles a month and put that out there to draw the traffic. Mid funnel, if you have the time, if you can do your own articles, LinkedIn articles. Maybe you have a partnership with a niche trade journal, and they do an article for you and you do an article for them once a month, once a quarter. That's where we see this being really valuable. If it's actually mid funnel quality, where you're talking about a niche topic like confidentiality and why that's important for a seller, something like that would clearly establish you as a qualified authority in your specific niche. Once you put the content together, you've got to think about distribution. How do you get it out there? Again, on LinkedIn, if you're running a focused social selling program and you've got your primary prospects and your referral prospects on that platform, well, it's logical to get it out there on LinkedIn, right? So you can boost content with ads, or you can do it organically with the tactics that we go through on a weekly basis here. Niche trade publications, very effective in M&A and business acquisition and sale. Don't listen to any digital marketers who are talking about paying for influencers or boosting any spending on social platforms. LinkedIn is good if you have the money, if you want to boost to a job title. So if you want to boost content to business owners in location, right, to financial advisors in location, that can be very effective, but it can also be very, very expensive. Guest posting, if you can partner up with a Forbes or something like the IBBA or a local regional organization, something that's industry specific, get a backlink, helps with SEO, but it's really getting your brand out in front of their audience. So maybe you give and you get their blog on your site. Pretty standard process. Webinars, we've seen a lot of interest in this as well. We've seen this be very, very effective. But where we've seen the biggest fail is the lack of planning. So if you're doing a webinar, sure, you can do a webinar and you could have nobody in the audience and you still have that video, and then you can put it into a good content marketing program, and that's perfectly fine. But it's even better if you can get a targeted invite list, right? You have a webinar that solves a niche problem for your target, right? Something that is very relevant to them. And then you send out the invitation and maybe ask if they have any questions that you'd like to address in the Q&A, right? That you'd like them to have addressed in the Q&A. And whether or not they attend, you can follow up to the entire list and ask for feedback, right? It's a great entry into a 101. Your prospects know that you've put together a webinar, that you've put this out there for them, and they're going to be much more likely to engage with a request for a conversation if that's a high value prospect. So that's where the webinar can be very, very effective, is if you actually plan it well, right? So you have the right lead up, and then you also have the right follow up. And that's really where you can get that cup of coffee call, is with a follow up after a webinar, if you do it the right way. Digital ads, again, I've already gone through this. Retargeting, LinkedIn by job title. Otherwise, don't waste your money. And then networking, right? So we still have a lot of people who are just waiting for the events to come back. And, I am too. I miss those industry events. In the interim, you've got to make do. So if you can do this from your desk, some sites that can be very relevant for regional networking, meetup.com, Eventbrite. You can just go and search for events based on business valuation, exit planning, see what's out there, get in there, get in the group, start networking, asking questions, maybe partner up on some webinars. If you're a business broker and you go on Eventbrite and you look for events related to wealth management, maybe you approach some financial advisors and partner up on a webinar, and you do something of value for your mutually shared end target, the business owner. This is a good strategy, especially when you do the coordinated lead up and follow up. That's going to help build your network and get you in front of your target prospects in a one-on-one fashion when you can't actually go to a conference and have that one-on-one. So if you can do this on a regular basis, be disciplined about it, that's working. Last but not least, cold calling, my personal favorite. I'm a lifetime cold caller. Started out cold calling. If you can do it, it's effective. Just, don't burn your time doing it. So targeting is everything. If you're going to spend time doing it, it's a numbers game. My most common piece of advice with cold calling in business brokerage, especially, and then with search funders, oftentimes you'll get tempted to just put a VA on a bunch of numbers and go out there and blast because it looks like, it's a deal. But just make sure that you control the script. Make sure that you control exactly what they're saying, because what you don't want to do is pay $10 an hour to have somebody go burn your brand with your entire regional network in one shot, right? You don't want to have, you're putting your brand on the front line if you're trusting somebody to cold call on your behalf. So just do your homework. Make sure that you have listened to whoever's actually on the phone. Make sure that you have personally approved a script, not only with the approach, but if there are common questions, common rebuttals, get some answers, get some rebuttals, put those in there for your VAs. Make sure that they're armed with that before they go call 300 people who are business owners in your area. So that's pretty much it for today. Just wanted to fire through everything. Hopefully that's helpful. We've got, let's see, I went a little bit over today, a lot of bit over, but that's all right. My kid has stopped crying. I lost track. Hopefully that wasn't happening through the majority of that, but looks like we have a good turnout, so people are still here. So hopefully this was valuable. If you don't have any questions, we'll leave it at that, and give us feedback, guys. If you want to hear some specific topics, we're happy to tailor these things to your interests. And if you don't want to hear specific topics, if you just had too much or something was overwhelming, let us know. That's how we continue to make these things valuable going forward. So thanks, and we'll see you next week.